Disclaimer. This is being said by an analyzed person who doesn't fully understand what he's talking about. This is all based on research that I have collected over a course of time. If any information inside of this video is considered incorrect or wrong, please inform me nicely in the comments. If I get a hate comment, I will keep it and I will pin it as a pin of shame. Shame because I like hate comments because they get me attention. All attention's good attention on YouTube. Bye, and continue on into the episode. Let's go! Hello, everyone, and welcome to an episode of Egg Upon Empire. Now, if you're new here, and I'm gonna assume that you probably are, this is not my normal content. I normally make fun gaming content, and as the name implies, mainly of Sonic the Hedgehog. But this is a topic that I feel like should be talked about because it feels important. Generally speaking, it just seems important for it to be talked about, you know? So, let's focus on the main topic of the video. Which, if you read the title, you would know is why sexualization in video games is a net deficit on everyone and not just whoever is mainly sexualized, which is normally women. Because there is a path on how it mainly... Let's go with the basics on why it sucks first here. So, in a previous episode of mine, you might have heard me talking about how one of my main complaints with the game Marvel Rivals is how a lot of the skins are heavily sexualized. I did not specify continue on the why of that. I just stated that that was a complaint, and you can infer the obvious answers, that it leads to the objectification of women. Yes. The objectification of any being is a problem, and that's why the sexualization of the characters is a problem. It's a very basic loop we can get here, and that's an easy to infer one. Now, easy to infer doesn't mean it's the only reason, because I have another reason for this one. And this one is a bit more relevant to now, you know? Something that seems more normal. Something more now, you know? This one being the male loneliness epidemic, as it's called. Now, before you go to the comments, yes, I am aware that you could put the blame on the men themselves, because, let's face it, they are a bit of an asshole. And like the whole objectifying woman thing. Again, that's a problem. But this problem has a point that it must stem from. And the point that it stems from, in my opinion here, from my perspective here, the point that it stems from is pornography. Which, you might be like, how do we get here? How do we get to the sexualization in video games? Okay, here's how we get there. Let's start off. Let's say Marvel Rivals, a teen-rated game. Teen for teens. If a teenager plays the game and then sees, let's say, the Disco Magic skin or something. You know, the one I put on the screen, Infernal Idol. They see them, and specifically that intro animation, since they're a teenager, in a very impressionable part of their lives, teenagers got that little thing called hormones. Raging edition. This time, Hormones Plus. You're never gonna see them again. The free trial of it, you don't get a second trial of it. And you can't pay for it. Maybe actually, there might be a way. Well, let's not talk about that. But nonetheless, the issue here is that an incredibly impressionable young mind and a hormonal teenager seeing something as sexualized as a Marvel Rivals could lead them to becoming what we on the internet consider horny. And that is inherently a bit of a problem. It's not like a problem that's inherently obvious. It's a natural human emotion. But the issue with the lustfulness here is that it can lead you down a dark path, especially with how Marvel Rivals is out now. It wasn't an old game back in the olden days. People have easy access to the internet now. And of course, the more they see these, the more they're gonna look for things like this. and they might start looking for things with less things on. Obviously, that's just kind of an issue that will happen because of this. Then after looking for that consistently, they'll be led to porn. And of course, we know what gooning is, right, folks? I'm not going to explain that to you. You're going to have to figure that one out yourself, kiddo. But after doing that, that is considered an addictive feeling, a high of sorts. And once you get a high once, normally you chase it more. And now chasing that high more will lead us to the direct problem that we have here. They chase the high, and the more and more they see. The more they see, the less they see women as people and more as objects. They rank them. They can never be satisfied now because there's always other ones. There's always more to want. They objectify them, turn them into little collector's items. It is a flaw that occurs normally with, pornography. And this flaw happens, but how do they get there? Well, yes, they can just get there on their own. I know that. But they can end up getting there from sexualization inside of video games. I'm saying that to put the blame on who causes the male loneliness epidemic. Yes, the blame can mainly be blamed on pornography. Yes, that is where the blame actually belongs. But since these corporations can lead hormonal teenagers to that, I think we blame the big corporations with heavily sexualized characters. And let's also get one thing clear. Sexualization is not the same as someone being hot. There is a difference. Let's put this thing here into a ranking of sexy and not sexy without needing sexualization. Rouge Abat is an intentionally designed sexy character. Meanwhile, the Chow are not sexy characters. They are not designed for that purpose. A character like Rouge can be sexy, but that doesn't mean they are inherently sexual. They will look hot doing whatever they do. Like cooking dishes or something. You can make the character look hot. I'm using the objectives here, obviously. I'm just going off of most people's vibes here. It seems like Rouge is objectively a sexy character. She ticks the boxes. Now that we know that, what's the difference between sexy and sexual? A sexy character is just someone who looks hot doing anything. A sexual character is someone who has specific movements and actions and, actings that let the imagination go wild. So, that is the difference here. I am not against having sexy characters in video games. I am against having sexualized characters in video games because there is a difference. But here is the problem with this whole argument here. How do you control a series about sexualization in video games? How do you control it? You can't. Because from one person's perspective, that is a sexualized character. From another person's perspective, that isn't. Since sexualization is not an objective thing, but instead a subjective thing, it's almost impossible to fully control what it is, making it harder to make legislation against it. I still do believe that it does need to be controlled, but I don't exactly know how you would control it. For example, I am against the Rouge redesign that they've been doing because they're not making her less of a sexualized character, they're just unsexying her, ruining parts of her design. She never seemed like a sexual character. People just thought she was hot. And fair enough, I'm looking at the charts here. She seems to check most of the conventionally attractive boxes. Now, I don't think she tracks the human part, but I don't think any of you guys care about the human part, so really, I can't be that mad. So, looking here, it seems like sexualization in video games is a very particular thing. It's so subjective, and that's the flaw with it. It's hard to really find a way to control it. Because, yeah, I have my critiques of it. I don't think it's a good thing. But I also don't know how one would necessarily control such an action. I think the fact that it leads to the male loneliness epidemic, which in part is the men's fault because they're assholes to women, but on the other fault, but it's truly the pornography's fault. The business in and of itself is kind of fucked up as per usual. It leads to a net deficit on everyone. Because women are being treated poorly, and men are addicted and are kind of lock and key. That's the flaw here. Now, of course, will men be an asshole to women anyways? I mean, yeah, sometimes. But porn definitely doesn't help. Men who'd be indifferent become assholes. You know? So overall, it leads to a net deficit on society. How do you control it? It's the hard part, though. I have no idea how one would control such an action. Now, that's kind of my case here. Also, before you even... Yes, every other gender is affected by this as well. Men just being general assholes to everyone is still something that happens. They become more of an asshole towards anything that looks vaguely not like a man. From this? Though that takes a lot longer. So you are less of affected by this than the men and women, the base editions. But yeah, y'all also are affected by this, most likely. Besides, if they hate women, then chances are they're definitely not going to be a liberal. And if they're not a liberal, then they hate your entire existence. So, yeah. That's my thoughts here, at least. Now, I just needed to dock shit, you know? See y'all later. Eggpon out. Bye-bye! And make sure to like and subscribe for the next episode of Eggpon Empire Black Thumbnail Edition, because these are the quality videos. I spend hours editing these ones. I spend 30 minutes editing all the other ones. Whoop-de-doo. Let's go. Bye!
What are we getting for dinner? Sushi, of course. Uh-oh, there was a roofie inside of our gas station sushi. We black out and wake up in a sewer. We're surrounded by fish.